Alrighty, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Just going to quickly introduce myself. My name is Prathmesh. I'm a sophomore here. I'm studying music technology, and I'm an audio lab technician here. If we kind of got introduced, I want to kind of know where everyone is from. Who here is from IMA? Any IMA students? No IMA students? ITP? Most of you. Any music technology students? Nice, nice. Anyone else? Not ITP, IMA, music technology? Not NYU? Okay, great. Great. Game design. Very cool, very cool. We're going to get started here in a couple of minutes. So what this is kind of be is an overview of the audio lab, which is the space over here, kind of get you introduced in the resources, the facilities, who we are, what we can do here, all the things to get your projects from the ground up, get it excited here. As for what my role is going to be during this presentation, I'm going to be acting kind of like one of you, kind of a newcomer to the audio lab. I'll be asking my partner Joel, who'll be coming out shortly, kind of questions throughout the presentation to kind of get him engaged in the sense that I kind of want to know about the audio lab, how to work it, how to use it, what the possibilities are here, things like that. And kind of halfway through, we'll have a little break for questions, things like that. And in the end, you can kind of explore, ask us a lot of questions about the space, things like that. Without further ado, I do want to introduce my partner Joel over here. Welcome him in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Audio Lab. So I was just back there making sure all the presentations were correctly moved around. As you see, this is a multi-space utility space right here. What you experienced earlier was an installation and a project done by none other than one of the NYU students named Joe Cahill and Tina Zhao. Zoe is right, Joe sitting right here. So this could be one of the projects that you guys could have a chance to make yourselves within the space. So without further ado, let's just quickly run into what we're going to do at the Audio Lab. And I'm going to pass it on to Prathmesh to get you situated on how do you reserve the space and how all of this works.
All right, great. So I'm going to fast forward a couple slides. Welcome to the Audio Lab. We are in 370 J Street, also called the Media Commons. If any of you want to scan this QR code, it'll actually take you to the Media Commons website where you can book. You can see what we have to offer here in terms of resources. I do want to note, make sure you are signed into your NYU account when you go ahead and scan this link, or you put in that that link up there. Otherwise, it may not work. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link to take us to the Media Commons website. Very large website. Definitely encourage all of you to go ahead on your own time, explore what it has to offer, look at our different resources, things like that. But just for now, I'm going to go over a general overview of the Audio Lab as well as this website. So scroll down a little bit. You can see our different production spaces. Right now, we are in 230 Audio Lab. Scroll down a little bit more. You can see our things like events and meeting spaces. And lastly, our operating hours over here. I do want to specify specifically for the Audio Lab, we are open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. with an Audio Lab technician. So it's someone like me or Joel or another Audio Lab technician here who could help you with your reservations, any resources, any technicality problems you may have. We're here to assist you. From the hours of 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. through the weekdays, we will not be here. They have walk-in hours. We'll talk about what you can do during our walk-in hours, but we're not here to assist you with any of your reservations. And then on Saturday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., we are also open, but there will not be a technician during that time to assist you, so just keep note of that. If you have a more special project, might need some assistance, book it during our open hours with an Audio Lab technician present. So I'm going to kind of go back up a little bit, and you can see 230 Audio Lab. If you go ahead and click on that, it takes you to a little page about the Audio Lab, gives you some general information, things like dimensions, space details, practices, things like that. I am not going to go through everything, but I do want to note, we have a little button over here you can hit View Inventory. You want to see our microphones, our video equipment, anything we have in the space, click on that link and it'll take you to see what we have here at the Audio Lab. Once again, I encourage you to go through the full website to see what you can book out, what resources and spaces we do have to offer here. But for now, we're just going to continue with the presentation. So a lot of great stuff here at the Audio Lab. Joel, I'm going to ask you, what can we actually do here? What resources do we have to offer here at the Audio Lab?
Great question, Prathmesh. So as you guys already saw the great example of what could be done here, this space can be used for multiple different things. Firstly, this is a recording studio, so we can have anywhere from medium to large size ensembles. So we've done screen recording, strings, horns. We've also done full-on jazz bands in this space. We also have a great backline with drums, amps, as well as pianos if you guys need it. Well, not acoustic pianos, but electric ones. This place is also used for immersive audio and video playback, kind of like how you experienced earlier. People can also do 3D audio and spatial and immersive research, mixing, as well as we do documentation using our systems here for audio and video recordings for whatever projects that you've been working on in this space.
Super cool stuff, Joel. What exactly, in terms of gear, do you have to offer here in the space to get those projects done?
Great. So we have a wide array of audio and video gear. So I'm just going to break it down super quick. So the audio gear right here. So we have the SSL System T, which is the mixing console that we have here. It's a digital mixing console. We also have 50 Martin audio speakers, as you see all around you. They're all connected through this protocol called as Dante, which is audio over IP. And we also have this little cool feature called as the RME DigiPhase Dante, as you see that little blue box there, that lets you connect your personal computers to all of the 50 speakers in this room. And we'll quickly look into how you can do that by yourself and walk in and use the space. We also have the videos gear. We also have 360 wall panel, wall projection using the Panasonic Ultra Short Pro projector, so you can walk up pretty close to it and not throw a shadow. We also got the Crestron interface doing all the AV functionality, the NewTek TriCaster, which lets you have multiple NDI sources, and then you can do live streaming, recording, all of that cool things. We also have the ceiling grid above you. You can hook up your own projectors, more lights, speakers, etc. And we also have DMX lights within this space. So if you're familiar with softwares like EOS, QLab, you can hook up to the DMX network and connect all of the lights that way. And quick pictures on what all of the systems and where they are. This is the control room. As you can see, we have the System T. We also have the computers there. We also have the CMR, also the central machine room, where, as you can see, all of the network patches as well as audio patches. So as long as you're this place is super modular, as long as you're next to a wall panel, you can access any of the resources in this space. We also got isolation booths. So if you're doing a full-on recording session, we have three isolation booths. We got the drum booth back there, 2 personal amp isolation booth, and this large live venue, this live space that you're all sitting in right now.
Oh, a lot of cool stuff, Joel. Any cool projects you've seen done here recently?
Great question. Just just a few hours ago, we had ITP's Beat Club that happens here every Friday, led by Professor Ali Santana. It's basically a club where people have audio and video playing together. So it's a giant Ableton link with reactive visuals that happens real time in this space. Just a quick video on how it looks.
Wow, very, very cool, Joel. Seems like a lot of stuff here. I'm just kind of looking to do a simple mix here. Like I have my Pro Tools session. I know you talked about there's a lot of speakers in here. Anyway, I can just come in, work on my mixing, just hook up to the system without having to do all this stuff. Just kind of a basic setup.
Yes, we do. So we have one of 2 ways that you can connect to our system here. And the way how we do it is we call this thing called as plug and play. Basically, you can bring your own laptop, plug into one of these systems here. You can do this without the need of a technician. So you can walk in any of our open hours, connect to either one of our interfaces, and we will quickly look on how that's all done as well. So as you can see, we have a guide for all of this connections. It's called as the Audiolab Interface Playback Guide. If you scan that QR code, you will get the guide. Do not fear if you don't have it with you. There's always a QR code on the table where you can scan and have access to all of these files. So Prathmesh, since you want to connect it, why don't you scan it and see what we see?
Oh wait, it's not working?
So that's not working because you're not plugged into you're not signed into your NYU account. So you got to make sure you're signed into your NYU account and scan the QR code so it works.
All right, great. I got it.
All right. So how did you get that? And then once Prathmesh gets it to his laptop, let's have a quick look on what Prathmesh sees.
So for those of you who are trying to get it from your phone to your laptop, really easy way to do it is I have Google Docs app on my phone. So when I scan the links, it pulls it up on Google Docs. Then I just go into my laptop, go to my Google Drive, Google Docs, and pull it up. Really easy way to get it from your phone to your laptop if you want to do it in an easy way.
Awesome.
Should we get started?
Yes. So as you see on this guide, you can connect to our systems in one of two ways. So we got the RME Digiface, and we also have an SSL2 Plus. We basically divided this into two different ways. So if you just want to use stereo, just basic, we have the SSL2 Plus, with you can also connect your microphones to it. But if you want to use multi-channel, we have the RME. So first things first, let's start basic. Let's try to see how we connect the SSL2 Plus, right? So if you go down, you can see that first things first, make sure everything is connected to your computer. And then go to your Mac system sound and then click on SSL. If you're using Windows, you might have to download drivers. The links for all of that are available on this guide. And go to your control panel, sounds, and select the SSL2 Plus for your playback. And once that is done, once you scroll down, you gotta do a couple of room setup. Usually, do not fear, all of this stuff is already set up, but in case something doesn't work, here's a quick guide on how everything is hooked up in this space. We have two connections that goes to that wall panel right there. It's labeled as M9 and M10. That connects to the back of your interface right here using these connections. Prathmesh, if you want to show them. And for your guidance, we have taped them as left and right, so you can just match it to the screen. And voila, you're connected to, and you can play stereo audio right out of the interface like you would normally do out of any audio interface for this room. Sweet.
A lot of different knobs on here. What do each of them actually mean?
Sweet. So if you haven't used the SSL2 Plus yet, just a quick guide. These are your preamps, so if you're connected to a microphone, you can plug it into your DAW and change the gains accordingly. This is the master knob for your master output volume. You also have this interesting knob here called as the monitor mix. Basically what it does, it sets the blend between the input and the output that's coming from your computer. So if you are in a situation where you want the microphone to come out of the speaker as well as the audio, you would set it somewhere in the middle. But if you only want to play back from your laptop, you would set it all the way to USB so it doesn't sound weird. Sweet.
It's a pretty great option, Joel, but I know you mentioned there's a ton of speakers in here, but that's only stereo, right?
Yep.
Is there any way I can kind of go through all the speakers or multiple at once rather than just two?
That would get us to the RME guide. So if you scroll down further, you have the RME Digiface Dante. And this is connected through an Ethernet connection from the wall. So as you can see, first steps first, again, make sure the connection's done. Usually it's going to be set up. And as you can see, there's multiple Ethernet ports here, but the one that we want to make sure that we're connected to is Dante. It doesn't matter. It could be any one of them. Make sure this purple Ethernet cable is connected to the Dante. And then once you follow it, you got to make sure it is connected to primary input 1 on the RME device. Once that is done, we make sure you're connected to your laptop. Super important.
Yeah, make sure you have a dongle if you don't have one.
Yes, we only have USB 3.0, so if you have a Type-C, make sure you carry your dongles. And once you connect it, you would have to install drivers. Doesn't matter if you're Windows or Mac, you will have to install drivers. The links to all of that are available here. So if you click on the link, just to keep in mind, certain drivers that you have to download are, you got to go to choose device. So in this case, we have the Digiface Dante. That's the one that we want. Go to Mac, since he's using a Mac, and then driver, and then click on the first link, which is the USB driver kit. Once you get that, the way how you install it might differ depending on your operating system or the OS. aka if you're on Sonoma, Monterey, etc., it might be a little different. All of that guide is available on the web, on our guide as well. If you scroll down, different formats on how this could be installed are already mentioned. Make sure the privacy settings are selected, and you might have to restart your computer a couple of times. But once the restart's done, you would have everything connected. Prathmesh has already installed this driver, so let's see how that looks like. So once he's hooked up, you would have a new application on your computer called as Total Mix. Quickly put, Total Mix is just an app that lets you control the RME device because it has multiple inputs and outputs. And you can use that to route signals anywhere within this space. To make all of this work, and it could be confusing, we have a quick guide called as the Audiolab Total Mix Workspace. Basically what it does, it's a file that we have designed especially for this space, which labels all of the speakers in the room according to its location and space where they are. So if you go on the drive, you would load the workspace, the Total Mix workspace, you would download it, and you would load it on the Total Mix file. So let's quickly have a look on what Total Mix looks like. So once you plug in your RME, a new application should pop up, so Total Mix, and it'll look something like this. As you see, it can get really confusing. There's a lot of faders around, and none of them are labeled properly. So that's why we need the file. So if the way to load it is super simple, go to File, Load Workspace, and just click Yes to discard all changes. And we would load the recent download that we had and click Open. And wow, you can see all of the speakers have been labeled accordingly and color-coded. So we will get to that later. And you can scroll between the 50 speakers that we have in this room. Just a quick guide. This section refers to the output coming from your DAW or your computer. This section represents the speakers. And the way how this works is usually you would select the speaker that you want to go and increase the fader for the output that you need. We'll quickly show how that works. Now, since Prathmesh, since you're all connected and we loaded the workspace file, any stereo file should work. Granted, you go to your system settings and make sure the playback is selected as Digiface Dante, right? Just like any other, if you're using a DAW, make sure the playback device is selected as Digiface Dante. So Prathmesh, let's play a song. Let's see what we get. It works. Sorry guys, this never gets funnier. It always gets funnier. But yeah, so that's how that usually works, right? All right. So right now what you see, you can only hear stuff in stereo, and sometimes if you're using something like Apple Music Renderer, the Apple Music software, you can automatically play immersive audio for the space. But if you want to use something like Spotify, so it's only stereo, we have a couple of tricks up our sleeves to make sure it sounds pseudo stereo within this space, right? One thing that we do is a configuration called as the X configuration. What we basically do is mirror the left and right speakers to the rear speakers. And I'm going to show you how we did that, how we're going to do that. So again, we select the speaker that we want. So in this case, the left side surround, or it's left surround rear, all right? And then we increase the fader for the rear, for channel 1, which represents left, right? And then if you mute the other speakers, you can hear audio coming from their back. And then if you do it if you go to the right channel, and then increase the right fader. So as you can see, we've mirrored channels as well, so you can hear them in the back as well. So now you can also route stuff to the ceilings, to each individual speakers, and have sound playing back from each one of them.
Great. Is there like an easier way I can just do this with some buttons or like a controller rather than just on my laptop?
Yes. So this is another gear that you can rent out right here, called as the Total Mix ARC software, or the ARC device. This is usually available when there's a technician around. What it basically does is a handy interface, kind of like a MIDI device that controls your RME. So when you connect it, it lights up. You can select the different speaker formats that you want for this room. So right now we're on all speakers, but if you want to just play stereo, you can click on that. And as you can see, it mutes and hides all the channels that you're not in use. FYI, this is not a down mix, it's just muting those certain speakers, right? We also have a master fader knob here that controls your master fader. And if you're in a project and you don't know what's happening and you want to be back to Unity, you have a button called Recall that brings everything back to Unity again. So this is a really great device that you want to use if you have like a live performance that you're doing in this space and you're using the Total Mix for immersive playback. And that is something that people have done in this space before.
Wow. Super cool, Joel. But there's a lot of speakers in here. How do I know what is what? Kind of configure it like that.
So if you go back to your guide again, and you scroll all the way down. Oh, quickly, just to let you know, these are installation guides for other devices. For example, the Windows. If you want to use RME for Windows and don't know how to configure it, here's a quick guide on how that's done. We also, if you keep scrolling down, we also have a guide on how to use the Total Mix software and what all of the labels mean. And if you keep going down, this is in a way how to create your own Total Mix workspace. If you don't need it, you don't need it. And if you skip all the way down, here's a quick guide on how RME, the ARC software works as well. And last but not least, all the way down towards the end, you see this thing called as the Audiolab speaker destinations. What it basically is a map of each and every single speaker in this room, along with the full name and the abbreviation that we've used in the on the Total Mix workspace, along with angle, distance, and elevation values. So if you're using other spatializing tools like Dolby Atmos Renderer or SPAT, you can do all of these tools. You can configure all of these files at home, bring them here, plug, and play. And if you keep scrolling down, you can see all of the speakers and the speaker layout for this space as well. So now when we go back to the presentation, we can see the layout here again, and we have something called as, we can configure it for 11.1.10. For those who don't know what 11.1.10 means, basically 11 represents the 11 speakers on your azimuth or your horizontal plane. The .1 refers to the subwoofer or the low frequency enhancer, and the .10 or the .6 or the .4 refers to the speakers above your head. So that could be your heights, your tops, etc. So you might be familiar with 7.1.4, 11.1, 9.1.2, etc. So the highest format that we can have in this space is 11.1.10, but you can also add more speakers and make it your own configuration that you want. And we also have more pictures on the dimensions. So this is really helpful if you're doing a recording session in this space and you want to make sure all the gear and the artists can fit in the space as well, or a live performance. And again, a bigger picture of the speaker layout within this space. Cool. So far, does anyone have any questions? Yes.
2 subs?
Yes.
Are they split or are they on the same channel?
Good question. So we have 4 subs in this room. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2 behind you as well. Yes. So we can run them in 2 different configurations. So you have access to, so if you look back onto this thing, if you route it to channel 4, it works as 1 sub together. Okay. But you also have access to individual subs as well on a different channel.
Great.
So you can do it either way.
Like if you want to make the rumble go around the room.
You can do that. You would have to do it on Pro Tools and pan it around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I'm guessing we probably should not be doing anything like changing the angle of the speakers or anything, or changing their position, right?
It could be done with the help of a technician, because they would then reset it back to the normal of what it needs to be done. But yes, these speakers are on pipe, so they can be moved depending on what research you're doing. But usually you would need a technician on hand on that day to help you out with it, because they would have to reset it back to the original position. Right. Any more questions? Yes.
Even on a weekend, we weren't able to get the surround voltage. Do we need to set the control room for that, or how does that work?
You don't need to. So all of this device will be set up in this space, all plugged in. You just have to bring your computer and plug it in, and all the speakers should be automatically turned on. Yes. So the way how we leave the room at the end of the day is configured such a way that you can bring your laptop, plug it in, and then have access to all the speakers as long as you can. We call it as a walk-in reservation. So you can walk in and have access to all of them. Cool. Yes. Sorry? Yes, so we do have guitar amps. We have a Fender Twin Reverb, I believe. They are currently in storage right now, but if you need it for your session, we can take them out for you. Again,
In the drum booth, there's a drum booth over here. It's like an ISO booth. You put you in there, put the amp in there.
and we can also have you outside and the amp in an isolated room as well. So it's whichever way you want to do it. So it's, it's open for all. Cool.
I do have a question, Joel.
Prathmesh, hit me, Prathmesh.
So you talked a lot about bringing on stuff on our laptop, downloading softwares, but this is a pretty cool space. I kind of expect something to be here, right? What if I just want to use the softwares, hardwares here instead of my own laptop? Anyway, I can just do that.
We can definitely do that. So just a heads up, for all of the steps, you will need a technician with you because you would need to access our computer called as the DAWMAC. What it basically is a computer that we have labeled, which lives in the CMR, the central machine room, which runs the house DAW, and we use Pro Tools in this space with the Dolby Atmos renderer. And if you need access to it, as long as there's a technician available, we can provide access to that system. And we can play back. It's mainly the computer that we use to record audio, playback audio for some installations and projects as well. And we also have a software called as the Dolby Atmos renderer within this space. So for those who knows what the Dolby Atmos renderer are. Okay, so I guess Harrison's the only one who knows what the Dolby Atmos renderer. So the Dolby Atmos is basically an immersive, object-based surround sound system, right? And it expands on the traditional idea of surround sound, so speakers all around you, and also introduces speakers above your head. So it creates kind of like a dome effect around you. But the cool thing about Dolby Atmos renderer is they have this concept called as objects and beds. So beds are something like your speaker layout, your channels, but the objects are the cool part where it stores information as audio data and then location data. And they're stored separately, so when you want to play back audio, it is then merged together to adapt to any space that you play back out of. So you can have 11.1.4 system or a 7.1 system, but you can always play object-based stuff in any speaker configuration because it's two different data living together. So we're gonna go through a quick guide on how the Dolby Atmos renderer works and how do you set this up within our system that we have here. So Dolby Atmos renderer, again, software application lets monitor, master music, used for television, podcast, gaming, etc. Just getting technical, we have up to 128 inputs, objects, and beds with something called as metadata, which is the location data for each of these objects that live around this space. All right, and then you also have two different versions of the Dolby Atmos renderer called as the internal and the external. If you own Pro Tools, you have the internal renderer with you already, if you own Pro Tools Studio and above. But if you don't, if you want to use the Dolby Atmos external renderer, you do have to buy the software, but we have a version of it on our DAWMAC that you guys can use. The special part about this is it has something called as room calibration, room EQ, so it's room agnostic. So once you do the mix, you can always export it and move it to any other studio, and it should be more or less equal to what it was earlier. All right, so I'm just gonna quickly show you what the Dolby Atmos renderer looks like. Voila. So this is the Dolby Atmos renderer. So I just want to quickly run through what the different sections are. Again, this section refers to the inputs to show you if there's a signal coming through those inputs. These are faders to monitor what's going to each channel. Then you get the speaker layout, and you also have a graphical representation of objects within a space, right? So for example, let's say I have this file called as an ADM file, which is basically a final mix file from Dolby Atmos, and you want to play it back. You can load it, and then you can play back audio as like a music player. So let's just play it. Cool. So if you want to also connect Pro Tools to the Dolby Atmos renderer, there is a way to do that. For example, here we go. This is the signal flow and how Pro Tools gets connected to the Dolby Atmos renderer and the speaker. So basically, Pro Tools goes through this thing called as the Dolby Atmos bridge. It's a fancy word for a virtual connection that connects to the Dolby Atmos renderer. So there's 64 input. There's 128 inputs that goes into this to the Dolby Atmos renderer, which then connects to your interface. We use the Avid HDX system here as our audio in and out. So you would connect to that, and then that is then routed to your speakers. So how does that work on the Pro Tools? So I have this Pro Tools session open here. This was recorded in this very space. I was able to mix it for you guys here as well. How it sounds is go to Setup, go to your playback engine, you select Dolby Audio Bridge, right? And then once you go to your renderer, same thing, go to Preferences, and then you would select Dolby Audio Bridge as the input device, but the output device is the Pro Tools HDX system here. So once that is done, if you switch to Input and play audio, so just like I said earlier, how objects are super, thank you. So just like how I mentioned earlier, how objects are super cool and important because you can change the monitoring playback out of it. So right now we're listening to physical, so that's all of the speakers in this room. We can also easily swap to, let's say, 7.1.4 and then only play out of those channels, or we can also just have a stereo channel. So I'm gonna swap between them. So as you can see, we can get audio, but let's say, oh, that's not how that works. There we go. We're playing back. Let's listen to, let's say, the trombone, right? You can see that we can have one trombone playing from that side. And depending on Pro Tools, I mean, this is not a mixing class, of course, but this is not a mixing tutorial, but you can always then, move stuff around in this space virtually. And you can position wherever you want to position for. So this recording was kind of cool because this was recorded for an immersive format. So we have height speaker, the microphones dedicated for heights. We have spot microphones for each instrument, and we also have just arrays set up so that it would capture immersive audio and this how it was actually recorded within this space.
Really cool recording opportunities you can do here. I'm actually a jazz musician myself. Mm-hmm. I play with a lot of bands, a lot of ensembles, and it just gave me a really cool idea. Like, what if I could have my own recording just like that, but also like a video part of it. Like, I can put on like YouTube, Instagram, or just like for an audition video. Can I have both of them?
We can. So that's going to bring us to our talk about of how we do documentation in this space. So we can document all of your projects as long as there's a technician available in multiple different formats, immersive or stereo, whatever you need. But these are some of the tools that we use in this space. For example, we have the Rode NT1, as you see, that's hanging in the middle of the room. That's a ambisonic microphone that captures basically how everything works, sounds in this room straight up, kind of like a room mic. And we also have the new tech TriCaster, as you see a picture of that right here. It lets you capture video and audio using the NDI system, so you have multiple video inputs, and you can also mix it real time. So here's a quick example of a project that was actually recorded here as well. And we also have a video of another project that was recorded in this space. So at the end of the day, what you're going to receive is multicam video files. If you have a dedicated person to mix the TriCaster system, you also get a mixed video, which you can also, again, use for live streams, which we can do in this space as well. The Pro Tools sessions, of course, with individual tracks for ambisonic microphone, etc. You also get the binaural down mix embedded on each video file, so you can also sync it later if you're editing all of this stuff later. And here's an example of how documentation was done in this space. So this is a really cool example because this is Jason. He is currently using a mind reader, apparently. The ones that you have, those old video games that you had, the little space balls that we used to have. Converting those data into MIDI, going into his computer, and then playing back audio in immersive sound. As you can see, he's also got the little ARC device with him, controlling audio and the speaker formats in real time, and DMX lights as well, controlled through his computer, and different spaces within this space as well. I'm just gonna skip around because it's a pretty long video. Feel free to check it out. This is a sound bath. But yeah, so that is the Audio Lab. I hope you guys had fun. This brings us to the end, and I hope to see all of your projects and hope to work with all of you guys in this space soon.
Thank you so much.
Feel free to hang around, check out the space, and if you have any questions, we're around. You can ask any one of us, and we're more than happy to help you guys out.
We do have a QR code if you want to come up and scan this. It's for our newsletter, for other workshops, other cool events that we may have here, as well as a little form you can fill out. This is really helpful for us to figure out how to kind of manage this in the future, put on better workshops as we go forward. And lastly, if any of you didn't sign in on the sign-in sheet or you weren't signed up for things, you want to put your name down, your email down, that would be great as well. Ask us any questions. Yeah, feel free to meet each other, interact with each other.
And if you guys need access to the slides, we do have a quick QR code if you want access to those slides. That's all available, so help yourselves.